This week's Epic Epoch update brings you 4 articles from a pretty wide range of topics. I tried to be a little miscellaneous this week. So one article is Why God Must Be Omniscient. There's a theological argument I concocted for that, partly in response to personages such as Dan Barker and Christopher Hitchens, with Dan Barker attempting to argue that it is impossible for God to be omniscient, and Christopher Hitchens really being troubled by the concept that God is omniscient, as he claims that this would be like a totalitarian concept, and he found it troublesome that essentially even his very thoughts were under surveillance. But of course, part of my argument is that in order for God to fulfill one of his traditional characteristics, which is that God would be a judge, he would have to be omniscient in order to be able to be the ultimate judge and judge rightly, taking into consideration every possible bit of evidence, including the motivations of our actions. Another article was Various and Sundry Texts on the serpent seed of Satan theory. Because if you've ever read anything by serpent seed of Satan theorists, well, you know that Genesis 4:1 completely obliterates their entire concept, and they cannot have that, can they? So they generally run off to the Targum Pseudo-Jonathan because it includes non-biblical statements that they believe make their point for them, which is what? Well, that Eve had sex with Satan in the Garden of Eden, birthed Cain, who is thus Satan's literal son, and that Cain's bloodline or seed line carries on satanic genetics. And so, in this case, I reviewed various texts throughout history from Jews and Christians to show that those that do include any such concept, they're obviously just unbiblical and also illogical, nonsensical, and lack evidence. But many of them absolutely state the opposite, that there's no such thing as Cain being the result of anything but a sexual union between Adam and Eve. Another article is MIT's Jeremy L. England on all by itself-replication. And this pertains to one of the origin of life mysteries, which is self-replication, or so it is termed. And in this one I decided to show how someone's ideas, okay, you get in this, ideas as in abstract concepts, can be praised, but then when they actually get down to attempting to apply their idealistic ideas to, the real life world with real life facts and real life biology, well, he basically takes a shortcut of presupposing something at the beginning without explaining how that thing is already there and functioning. And I kind of certainly hope that Jeremy England does not become one of these many scientists such as Lawrence Krauss, Stephen Hawking, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who really could be benefits to humanity but literally throw away their careers so as to become atheist missionaries who use, abuse, and misuse science as a facade for their atheism. I mean, they literally throw away their careers to abandon their actual field of research and instead simply find ways to try to prove their worldview philosophy, atheism. The last article is pretty interesting news that came out. I called it Conspiracy Reality, the Masonic Fraternal Police Department. And this is very interesting. When it hits mainstream media, this kind of a thing, you kind of don't have the luxury of just saying, wacky conspiracy theorists, get out of here. And this is weird stuff. 3 people have been arrested for, amongst other charges, impersonating police officers. And they claim to be part of a secret police department that goes back 3,000 years to the Knights Templar. Now, actually, that's not possible. I mean, the Knights Templar only go back some 900 years, so by 3,000 years, I don't know. They must be referring to the esoteric origination of Freemasonry, either operative or speculative. I mean, who knows what they're thinking. And so far, we know that 3 people are involved, so maybe it's just 3 wacky people making baseless claims. Maybe there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and maybe we won't ever find out anything about it. Because if there's that many people involved and it's that secret, then it'll just be rubbed out of the mainstream media just as soon as it hits the mainstream media. So there you go. I tried to be miscellaneous this week, giving you a lot of different information on a lot of different topics, and I hope you enjoy them.